Hey. And for everybody watching, we are all soul center healing hypnosis practitioners, otherwise known as SCHH practitioners. So we are trained in SCHH, which is a quantum hypnotherapy modality, which does entity release and an energetic clean and rebuild at the front end. So for anybody watching this who might be thinking to themselves, I hear all of these different modalities, I don't really know what the difference is between any of them, then that's the difference in terms of SCHH. We do the past life regression, we do bring forwards the higher self, but we don't do that until we have cleaned and cleared all of the entities away from the energetic body of the client and rebuilt the energetic body, which once you've rebuilt the energetic body, strengthens the aura, which ensures that they're not going to pull in any more entities. What that also does is, because the client is energetically clean, it ensures that they are psychically clean. So when we take them into the theta brainwave state as SCHH practitioners or hypnotherapists, what they are connecting to is just theirs and not anything else. So that's what we do. So I'm joined today with three beautiful ladies, Delana, Erin, and Corinne. And you ladies are all USA based,
Yes.
which is my favorite country in the whole world. I wish that I lived in America, and that is the truth. But unfortunately, I don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out to each of you in turn and ask for you to introduce yourselves so everybody can find out more about who you are and what you do. So I'm going to go out to Delana first. Delana, tell us more about yourself.
Hi, everybody. I started this journey because I have four sons, and one of my sons was going through a really tough time in his life with some addiction issues, and he was also hearing voices and seeing things, and he literally felt like he was going crazy and didn't know what to do. So this was before I knew anything about soul center healing hypnosis. And I reached out to a healer that was recommended to us. My son did not want to go on any meds. He just wanted to get to the root of the problem. And we reached out to a healer, and she did several sessions with him. And I witnessed this transition in him, this transformation, which was truly amazing. And at that point, I said, we need more of this in the world. This particular healer did not do any type of training. And then I was very open to finding out how to do this. I heard somebody use the initials QHHT, and I had no idea what that was. So I looked a little bit into that, looked at that modality. They don't touch on dark entities or energies and removing them. So I saw in my son that was an issue. That was a big issue for him. So I knew that I wanted something, a modality that removed that, as well as the past life regression. And there was another QHHT practitioner, as I was searching, that I saw the initials SCHH, and I thought, oh, what's that? So down the rabbit hole I went. And then I came to your website, and I thought to myself, this is absolutely perfect. I loved that it took the modality, removing the energies. I loved that you can work with people all over the world. And I loved just all of the benefits that came along with it. And I thought this was perfect. And people that know me know that I research things to death before I jump in. And I jumped in, I researched, I jumped in, and I'm just really grateful to be able to do this and to help people heal themselves.
I'm so pleased that you did.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you found it.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for sharing that. Thank you. Erin, do you want to go next?
Yes. My name is Erin Prindle, and I came to SCHH at a point in my life where, well, it started where I was kind of burnt out with life and overwhelmed. And I just felt like I just couldn't continue down whatever life I was doing. And I actually went into Reiki. I took a Reiki class. And I took this in Asheville, North Carolina, and where the people that I met through that coursework began talking about Dolores Cannon and QHHT. And the Reiki had moved me so much. I was like, wow, I need to jump into QHHT and explore this. So I looked into Dolores Cannon. I read a bunch of the books, and I'm like, QHHT. I signed up for it. And when I got done with the level 1, I thought to myself, I have the key to access things and help people. And so I began practicing, but I had a really hard time with it. I had a hard time, like there was just something I wasn't getting with the QHHT. And in one of my practice sessions with someone that I really care about, very dear to me, and she was in the session, really struggling, and I could see like her face was not what I always knew of her. And I knew immediately that there was something there and that I needed to learn something else to help her because what I was doing was not enough. And so that sent me on to researching. And eventually I came upon a practitioner that had your information on her website, and that brought me to you. And so once I signed up and started learning the SCHH, I was like, this is amazing work. The healing that you do during the whole process is phenomenal. And I've seen so much amazing results with the healing part alone. So that's how I came into the SCHH.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's absolutely incredible. And what you say there is so true, the experience that you had there with your friend, the person that was really dear to you. When you take people into the theta brainwave state that has a strong entity attached, you will sometimes see the person in front of you completely change because the energy that is attached does not want that to be occurring. They know that there's a potentiality that you're going to do something to that human that they don't want you to do. And they will oftentimes try to actually take control of the physical vehicle of the human. So you will see different beings or energies manifest literally through the client. And the first time you see that, it's quite shocking. And you have to see it with your own eyes.
Yes, it was very shocking. I know that we've all watched some movies, right? And when they're supposed to be possessed and they look funny and you're like, "Oh, really? That's just ridiculous." But it was just very subtle, but you can sense that they don't look the same. And
Yeah.
I think really you're reading that energy as well. So, yeah.
You notice it in everyday life as well, don't you? When once you've started to see it in your sessions, you notice it with actual everyday people in everyday life. I had something happen to me this morning. A guy that I was talking to literally just switched in front of my eyes,
Mm.
and this energy stepped forwards and started trying to goad me into an argument. And I'm thinking, oh God, it's too early in the day for this. Not when I'm not on the day job. Give me a break when I'm, when I'm not working.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very prevalent throughout the human population. Corinne, over to you. Give us uh give us all the information from your perspective.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Corinne. I'm from Ohio. And I started this journey pretty much through health. I was basically collecting medical diagnosis after medical diagnosis. And it got to the point where nothing that, my doctors did helped me with anything. And I really, really wanted to get away from taking medicine and doing all the things that I knew were going to be harmful for me in the long run. So I was really researching natural ways, and I did a lot of Reiki and a lot of other healing modalities, and along the way, researching, I came across Dolores Cannon, and of course, watched tons of videos and learned all about it. And then I signed up for QHHT, and I went through level 1 QHHT. And before I even started doing practice sessions, I would notice there was differences in like the practice videos that we were to watch, for the course. I would really notice there was a big difference in some of the videos. When the higher self would come through, I would just kind of get the feeling that this isn't right. Something's going on here. And I just kind of started researching different modalities of hypnosis, and then I stumbled across quite a few SCHH practitioner videos, and I was like, it was like a light bulb went off. I was like, this is it. This is what we're missing. And the more that I watched the videos of those sessions, and bless them for putting out videos, because I consumed like day after day so many of those videos, to learn, and then signed up for SCHH and realized this is what I was missing with the QHHT. I absolutely love Dolores Cannon, and I feel like what a pioneer. But there's one step that, one more step we need to go, and I just really feel like it really hit the nail on the head for me. And like I said, it was a light bulb moment when I found you.
It's actually incredible for me to hear all of your stories in regards to how you found the modality and how it's changed your life. It's a really profound moment for me. That I remember when I took the decision to develop SCHH, and it was a really big decision for me. I found it very difficult because I knew that I would have to pull away from QHHT and the community, because at that time they wouldn't even entertain a discussion around entities. And I am the sort of person that I am as honest as the day is long. And I also, with every fiber of my being, want to help every single person that I see. That's all I want to do. And I will do whatever it takes to help that person access what they need. And when these people were coming to me, and I had the same situations as you guys, where I'm using the QHHT technique, but I'm seeing that I'm missing something. Something's not right. It's not working in the way that we've been told. And who's these horrible voices that keep coming out of people? We're supposed to be accessing the higher self. Who's this loving energy that has the best interests of the client at heart? And yet I seem to be, whatever I'm doing, is it something I'm doing that's wrong? Because when I do it, all that comes through are these really vicious, sometimes vicious and unkind and cruel comments from the higher self. And so with what you've been taught, you know that can't be right, because the higher self is a completely loving being, and that's the journey that I started with. Basically, I thought to myself, well, I've got to get to the bottom of this, because this is not right, and I need to help these people. And at the time, we were just told, if you can't get people into the QHHT sessions, if you can't get them under, then the client's not ready. Just send them away. And that didn't sit right with me at all. And that was not good enough for me. So I had to work out what was going on and just go with it. And as soon as I made that decision, things changed very, very rapidly for me. And every person that I had that came to see me had an entity. But not only that, once I fully stepped into that space and looked back with different eyes, I could look back on previous clients that I'd had earlier on in my career, and they had entities. And I should have realized at the time, but I didn't, because it was a process that I had to go through to fully understand the space. Once I'd felt that I understood the space well enough, I wanted to help people also step into that same space with me, because I'm thinking, I'm helping people now, and I know this works. I know entities are a thing. I've spoken to thousands of them. What about all these other practitioners that are doing sessions that don't understand this as well? What about all of those people that they're sending away, telling them, oh, you're just not ready? That's not good enough. You know, humanity needs help. It needs healing. So that's when I took the decision to start teaching people. And I did it really low key to start off with. It didn't have a name. It wasn't SCHH. It was just, if you want to come train with me, and I'll give you some more skills. And then one of my students said to me, Laura, you need to put a label on this, and you need to put it out there, because everybody needs to do this. And it was only her saying that to me that gave me the confidence to do it. Otherwise, I never would. And I'm really pleased that I did, because I think I know from the stories that I hear from clients, from students, from practitioners, that it has changed so many people's lives, including my own. So I'm going to ask each of you now to tell the audience how SCHH changed your life from a personal perspective. So when you were having your swap sessions, or whichever sessions that you had to clear yourselves, how did you notice the changes in you from what you were like before to what you were like after? So I'll go to Delana again.
Wow. Well, when you just said that, what immediately came to my mind was the anxiety that I've had from, I don't know, when I was like really young, like a toddler, and lack of confidence. I would, it looked like I had confidence, but I didn't. Like, nobody knew what I went through before I would have to go and present something, or, you know, and as a child, it was always, she's shy, you know, oh, she's shy. And now I'm seeing like a lot of it is anxiety. A lot of it was anxiety. And so going through the swap sessions, I had, you know, a lot going on in my solar plexus, which came about when I was, you know, very, very young, from situation that I grew up with my entire life. And so when that emotion and the trauma and the energy, the dark energy was removed, it just was a world of difference for me. It was like a whole new world opened up, that I can step into situations and not have to go over and over and over again with it in my mind. Yeah. So that was one in particular. I had another energy in my sacral, and so, you know, there was some sadness at times, and other things associated with that. I went through infertility. I had endometriosis, you know, like all these things. So knowing all this now, I'm just like, wow. I just feel more clear, and I'm able to see situations differently, and not automatically going to the negative, you know, just really seeing situations and people and not judging right away, but thinking, okay, what did they have to experience in their, what experiences did they have in their life for them to react that way? What do they have going on energy wise? You know, like you just, once you see it, you can't not see it.
Yeah.
And I just love when my clients give me feedback after the sessions that we've had, and the things, the benefits and the things that have disappeared since the session, which is just truly miraculous. Like even physical ailments.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about soul ailments. Everybody talks about mental ailments, you know, physical ailments, but ailments of the soul is not talked about.
Yeah.
That's like the deep, deep, deep root many times.
It is. And it's that that causes all of the other stuff.
Yes.
So if you can heal that, everything else.
And I'm all about digging deep and getting to the root. Don't put a Band-Aid on it. No, because it's going to keep coming back. Let's get to the root of the problem.
I remember seeing you physically change as well. So as you went through the training, how you looked at the beginning versus how you look now was totally different.
Yeah, like people say things to me, like, and I'm like, I really think it's this. Like,
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Erin.
Yes, I wanted to start by kind of prefacing that I came from a family that was very active with spiritual things. Like my mom has psychometry. She could hold on to items and read the energy from it. She also did a lot of clearings of homes and even businesses from Earthbound Spirits and other things like that. So she could really see those things. So from a young age, I was very open to understanding that there was other things going on than what we can see with our eyes. But we never really discussed attachments to a person, though. Like that wasn't something that we were knowledgeable of. My mom did say she could see like swords from past lives still lodged in the energy field and things like that. But it was never like attachments of earthbound spirits. So when I came into this, I was curious, like I had an awareness of things, but at the same time, I'm like, is there really something there? But then as I went through sessions for myself and I experienced the clearing and I experienced the positive after, I was like, wow, it really helps solidify how everything goes. So, I'll talk about a couple experiences I had. I went through trauma when I was younger, and as an adult, I would constantly have like these random inappropriate thoughts popping in my head, and it was a battle all the time. Like I'm like, oh, why'd that pop in my head? Like what? What's wrong with me for this? And then when I had a clearing of this, dark energy out of my sacral, and I immediately noticed afterwards that voice never popped up anymore. I never had any of those thoughts. And it feels so like reassuring to myself in who I am that I don't have to fight those pop-ups anymore. And I know I had questioned about a lot of the process about the clearing, and I had like a lot of spiders in my shoulder. And once those were cleared off, my entire shoulder pain went away. it was gone. I've not had it since. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. It's so powerful. And so I just really found a lot of meaning. It helped me to grow, not only from the clearing, but understanding the process and the impact of how these attachments, you don't know they're there. You do feel like it's part of who you are. Like, this is who I am, but why am I this way? And then when you clear that out, and then you're like, wow, I feel so much better. Like, this, who I am now that I've been cleared, is who I am. Yeah.
That is the most excellent way I think I've ever heard it explained.
Oh, thanks.
You've got a way of explaining it, which is just wonderful. And you're correct. That is exactly what it feels like.
Yeah.
It feels like you always thought you were like this, but when you have those levels and layers of density cleaned away energetically, your consciousness becomes less polluted. You don't hear those low frequency thoughts anymore. And you suddenly realize, oh, this is who I really am.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this version better.
Yeah.
It's incredible stuff. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. Corinne.
For me, the going through all the sessions for myself, the most profound thing was really I was able to connect the dots, you know, between all my medical diagnosis and all my symptoms, and really getting to the root cause of things was extremely profound and completely life-changing. I was having like fibromyalgia pain, you know, all over pain, and within, you know, the first 2 sessions, it was completely gone. Getting down to the root cause of, you know, why that pain was manifesting. And I just really think that was the most profound thing for me as far as going through all my sessions. And when Erin talks about, you know, taking off the layers, it was like for me, all the you know, symptoms that had manifested, it was like, you know, every single session pulling the layers of an onion, you know, getting to me, and being able to see the real me. And when you can operate, you know, with a clear mind, with a clear heart, clear soul, then when something is off, then you're able to really quickly, very quickly recognize it, and try to get to the root cause and try to fix it, try to address it. That's my favorite thing. Being able to, my awareness is much higher now of when, you know, things might attach to me, or even other people, like we were talking, the awareness of, you know, of other people. So I think that's been the most profound for me.
That's incredible, because that shows that this modality has helped you in 2 sessions with your physical symptoms as well in the body.
Mm-hmm.
So pain just completely gone.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this resonates with you in terms of your experience, but with people that I've worked with that have developed fibromyalgia type symptoms, it can often just be an overload of emotional pain that's built up in the body that you've not been allowed to release. And once you go through something like SCHH and you're allowed to release that emotional pain, and we move the entities out of the way that are keeping that emotional pain there, they want you in the pain so that they can be fed. Once you take those entities away and all of that flows up and out and everything starts to clear, the physical body responds. So there is no need for the physical body to have pain or disease once the energy flow is correct in the body. That's something that needs to be understood at a fundamental level throughout humans, and absolutely within the medical industry, that much of the time when the medical industry is wanting to chop a diseased part away or medicate what is considered to be a mental condition away. Actually, we need to go right the way back to what's happened here. Let's have a look at your story. Let's have a look at your journey. Let's see when you felt pain. What emotion were you feeling here? Oh, that emotion corresponds to the sacral chakra. Oh, and that's where you've got this particular disease that's manifested in the body. Okay,
Mhm.
so now we know what we're looking at. So it's tackling all of those areas at once, helping the human to shift that heavy emotion, heal the trauma, reparent the child that's hurting. You know, there's many, many different things that we can do there. But then once you're pulling these entities away that were attracted by the initial wound, then you as a human are able to heal. And that's really, really, really important. Bear with me whilst I just cough. Apologies. So I'm going to go out now to each of you to ask you to share an example of your favorite session, if you would. So sessions on other people that you've done. So we'll go to Delana first.
I would have to say there was one in particular where we uncovered an earthbound spirit of a 10-year-old boy. And I always like to question and speak to the energy, whatever type of energy that it is, and try to get an understanding for my client as to when it attached, what was the purpose of attaching, what was the client going through at the time that allowed this energy to attach. And this was a 10-year-old boy. At the time, my client was going through extreme depression and confusion. And she also, what I know about her, is very nurturing. So this energy attached to her because she had a mothering type of instinct. And this earthbound spirit wanted to be protected and cared for and things like that, and was causing like more sadness in her. So anyway, we found a lot out about his situation when he had a physical body and the mental abuse that he was put through. And he had a lot of mental abuse from his family. So I also like, before we send them to the light, I like to ask the angels that are gathered around my client to show the client an image of what, or an image of somebody or something that they're going to see when they cross over into the light. And so he saw a basketball court. And he had said that at school, he loved basketball. Like that's where he put all of his, so he saw, I have chills talking about this. And he saw his mother there. And she was there to welcome him over. And it was just, it was so beautiful. However, I learned a lesson from this because I became very empathetic to this situation and to this boy having 4 sons of my own. And I took on something from this. So then I had to be cleared after this. So now I know, it's compassion, and it's not getting fully into your client's story, like head on, but it's really just having that compassion. But that was one in particular, amongst many, but that was one that really.
I'm really glad you mentioned that, because that is the key to stepping into a space of being the most successful practitioner that you can be. it's switching empathy, which we all have because we're all kind people. That's why we want to be healers in the first place. It's switching empathy to compassion. And it's actually been proven that there's two different, they're very distinctive and different roads into the brain for empathy and compassion. With empathy, what empathy does is you go into the pain of the person and then you become a magnetic match. And that's how the client has pulled the entity into them in the first place. It's through that exact process. So as practitioners, we have to make sure that we don't go right the way down into the client's pain, but we meet them with compassion. And with compassion, they feel held with love. Compassion is the highest form of love. It's divine love, basically. And we also give compassion to the entities as well, which is very different in terms of how we do it with SCHH, with the compassion and other entity release modalities and methods. But I do believe that compassion is very important. I believe it, when you go into a session with strength and compassion, that is your biggest defense as well, because those entities won't come anywhere near compassion. They don't want to go anywhere near it because to them, it burns. Compassion is not for us. And then obviously you can help them find their light, and off they go into the light. So I'm really glad that you brought that.
Even with the darker energies that are really mean and hiss and curse, like they don't know any different. I mean, they did, like, you know, way far back, but once, you know, we even have compassion for them.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Absolutely.
when we hear their story and they can feel our compassion and really have a trust in us, they're more apt to work with us and go to the light. So, I mean, I've seen them turn from, like, they can't stand us and what we're doing and just want to control our client, to like really softening up and being so grateful.
Yeah, it's beautiful
that we're there to help them.
I think our job is one of the best jobs in the world. And the example that you've just given there, to be in a job where you can go into a place and rescue the soul of a 10-year-old boy that needs help, that for me is the job. And if I was a child, or if I had a child that was trapped in a dark, dense place, I would hope that there would be somebody there to help my child. So I think it's absolutely it's fantastic that we're doing this. And you just think about how many earthbound spirits there must be trapped on the earth plane. Think about all of the traumas and the tragedies that have occurred. Think of all of the big wars and the people that were so traumatized, they were taken out of their bodies so quickly they didn't have time to process it. Think about how many souls we will be able to help through this modality. It's absolutely incredible. Thank you for sharing that, Delana. Thank you. So I'm going to go to Erin for your favorite session example.
Wow, it's really hard to choose. I feel like there's so many that have been really meaningful. Just seeing healing and then the client afterwards, just feeling amazing. But one that really stood out for me was healing a past life trauma that the client was holding on to. It was a life in Egypt, and when she had been hit in the had a sword in her gut, basically, and that's how she had passed away in that life. It was very traumatic because she was a powerful woman that had several other women that she looked after that also died and perished in that past life. And so during the healing, there was a cord, a really strong cord that was going back into that event, as well as an injury, the injury from that sword. And this client spent years with stomach issues, eating Tums and taking prescription meds for influx and all kinds of issues with her stomach. And we cleared that trauma out of the solar plexus area, out of the stomach, and released that cord. And after that, after years of eating Tums, she didn't have to take any more Tums after that. And she was so incredibly thankful for that process of clearing that area out. And that one really stood out for me just because I constantly was able to see that impact that the healing had for her on her life.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's incredible what does develop as well with this, because what you'll often find as well is the more you do it is when you're connecting to the chakras, you can feel past life trauma in those chakras, in the chakra system as well. And sometimes it will be something that's happened in another lifetime that causes an imbalance in a particular chakra. And it's that causes the light in the chakra to lower, which magnetically pulls in the entity. And it's not necessarily something that actually occurred in this lifetime. What's interesting, just an example of that as I think of it, is with my own child, my youngest child. She had a really traumatic lifetime where she was eaten by a crocodile. And, you know, if ever she's having a bit of a low day and it's obvious enough for me that I actually clean her energy at night time, I will find a crocodile in her root. And it's in her root because her stability and safety was taken away because the crocodile ate her. So the more you do this work and the more you work with the person, once you've cleared out the entities out of the chakra and present life trauma, ancestral trauma, you can then get down to past life trauma as well. I think it's fascinating how all of this works. And I feel very, very excited that we're all on this journey together to go out there and explore this arena with our clients. I think we're all very, very lucky. So the next question I'm going to ask you guys is, if you were thinking about going into SCHH, or if you're listening to this interview and you're a QHHT practitioner or a clinical hypnotherapist or a psychotherapist or whatever, what advice could you give to people that are thinking about training? What would you give? So I'll go to Delana first.
I would just say the advice that I would give would be just to really get curious. Look at the modality itself, as well as the founder, you, and I just feel like follow your intuition, really. If we want to get into this, we are intuitive anyway, right? So I would say to follow your intuition. I feel like this is one of the best decisions I've ever had in my life, next to my husband and my children, but is getting involved in this, because I just feel like this is the future of medicine.
I agree.
And we will be able to help others heal themselves through this like gentle guidance of this. And I don't know if I answered your question, but I mean, I'm somebody that just does deep dives on things before I get into it. Like I said, not everybody's like that. So if you're not, I would go with your gut or do a deep dive into what it is.
Thank you. Erin, what advice would you give for people?
I would say, look into how others are practicing. Look at the videos and really watch how to use your voice and how to just go within and really trust and follow your inner guidance, and it will guide you. And even if it's hard to connect at the moment, if you're just beginning and everything's overwhelming, you continue learning, continue on that path, and that connection will happen. And it's going to be amazing, that guidance you receive within. And always look to people that inspire you and use their approach to help you grow.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Corinne.
I would encourage people to watch QHHT video sessions and watch SCHH video sessions and really compare and contrast and listen. There's a lot of differences in the higher self section of those videos. I would just really encourage people to just watch, and just the feeling that you get, when you listen and watch these sessions compared to, a QHHT session and the higher self section. So follow what they're saying, follow your intuition, follow your gut. When you listen to these sessions, you can tell, your intuition will yell at you, something's wrong, something isn't right here. So I would just encourage people to just compare and contrast the different hypnosis modalities if they're thinking about, going from QHHT to SCHH. Just compare and contrast the differences, and what does your intuition tell you?
And I think it's very important what you've just said there. Very, very important. I think many people will always find Dolores Cannon first. Everybody will always find Dolores Cannon.
Yes.
Because she was absolutely groundbreaking, pioneer, and so that's what hooks people in. But the difference is with the modalities to line it out so people are aware, because I don't know if everybody is. QHHT uses Dolores Cannon's script to take you into past life regression and higher self section. BQH uses Candice Craw-Goldman's script to take you into past life regression and higher self section. SCHH uses Laura Whitworth's script to, first of all, identify what traumas you've got going on, identify all of the entities that the client is aware of. Once we've removed them, we then clean and clear every single chakra. So if there are any other entities attached that the client is not aware of, and you better believe that there will be some, once we've cleaned and cleared all of the chakras, then we've got rid of all of the entities, and we do a final sweep to make sure that we've got everything. And then we rebuild the energetic body. And until you do that, that's what you look like as a human. Because these black spots, these black holes, if you like, here represent your chakra energy is being siphoned off into another being in a higher dimension that is negatively polarized. And they are using your life force to fuel what they are. All you have going into the body is that one light at the bottom. And this is of somebody who's got every single chakra parasited upon. But, it might just be you have the sacral that's gone and all the rest are there. But that is where physical disease will manifest in the body if you no longer have access to the orange light in your sacral. So with SCHH, we clean the entire energetic body first. And because we've cleaned the energetic body of entities, what that does is it cleans the consciousness of the individual. So as Erin said earlier, all of those limiting low frequency thoughts that she would have cycling round that she knew was not hers, like, where has that come from? As soon as she had a sacral cleared, they're not there anymore because there was an entity in the sacral. So when you clear the human energetically, you clear their consciousness. And therefore, when you're using the consciousness of the human as a vehicle by which to take them into past life regression, you know that you're connecting to that client's multidimensional and higher self. If the consciousness of the human is parasited upon by entities, then there is a high chance that what you connect to for the past life is actually not a past life of the client at all. It's the exit point of one of their attached earthbound spirits. So that's what you'll see instead. And when you try and bring the higher self forwards, you'll get the controlling energy that controls that individual's chakra system, which is normally a demon. If they've got entities, you'll get the controlling demon that will come forwards as the higher self. And for anybody that saw the Matt Schmidt interview that was shared earlier this week, that is what Matt was explaining, that when he tried to bring forwards this particular person's higher self, this voice came through saying that, you know, the person should kill themselves. Well, he'd not connected with the higher self, he'd connected with the person's controlling demon. That's why it's so important that we clean and clear all of our clients energetically, emotionally, and therefore psychically before we take them into past life regression. Not only does that mean that we as practitioners know that our client's going to get the best experience and it will be their experience, but after that session, they're going to go away feeling amazing because they've got clear chakras, because they are sovereign. They're just themselves. All of their physical ailments are going to heal. There will be no more physical trauma in the body. And it's all to do with the energy, but it starts in the emotions. This is the missing link. So for anybody that is working in this space at the moment, whether you're QHHT, BQH, clinical hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, any kind of healer of any kind, I would urge you to look into training in this modality, because I do believe, as Delana said earlier, it's the future. It's the future for humanity, because we need to understand we have an energetic body and we need to understand that our emotions affect it. And if we can understand that, then we can start to achieve emotional mastery to keep our energy clean, which will then allow us to ascend. Because if we can manage our emotions in a way whereby we're not going to be so volatile as a species and turn on each other all the time, that is the key to the higher dimension. Ladies, it's been absolutely amazing to speak to all of you today. Thank you so much for giving up your time and energy to join us and have this chat. It's been incredible for me to listen, very profound for me to listen to all of your experiences, and I'm deeply grateful to each and every one of you for everything that you've shared today. For everybody watching this, if you want to book a session with Delana and Erin and Corinne, I'm going to place all of their details in the YouTube handle underneath. So after you've watched this video, go back down into the YouTube information and you will be able to access their details so you can book directly with them for a session. If you've been interested in this modality and you want to train, we go to www.schhhofficial.com. There are various different training packages in there to suit your individual needs. Thanks, everybody. It's been lovely to connect with you today.
Thank you.
Great.
I'll see you all again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.